Welcome to Second Act Niger. This is a platform where we have honest, thoughtful conversations about a phase of life that many professionals will eventually face, but very few prepare for properly. A phase not defined by titles, but by transition. A phase where life must be lived more intentionally than ever before. Last week, we had a very important conversation. We spoke about the mistakes many professionals make in the final years before retirement. We spoke about delay. We spoke about avoidance. We spoke about living as though nothing is changing. But there is something deeper that those mistakes lead to. And that is what I want us to examine today. Because the real danger is not the mistake. The real danger is the consequences of the mistake, what the mistakes produce. It produces something quiet, something gradual, something many people do not recognize until it is happening. And that thing is drift. Today, I want us to talk about something very few professionals prepare for. We're not talking about failure today. We're not talking about lack of money, but the slow loss of direction that can happen after a long and successful career. Why many professionals drift after retirement and how to avoid it. That is what we're discussing today. Retirement really destroys a man suddenly. It erodes him gradually. And the real danger is not failure. It is that drift. What exactly is drift? Drift is when you are active, but you're not advancing. A lot of motion, but no movement. You are moving, but you're not going anywhere. You are engaged, but you're not building anything meaningful. Drift happens for a few reasons. Let us examine those reasons together. Number one, the loss of decision pressure. You are no longer under pressure to make any decision. For decades, your work forced decisions. You had deadlines, you had responsibilities, you had expectations. But retirement removes all of that pressure, both on the work front and sometimes on the family front. And when nothing is forcing decisions, life becomes optional. Second, unstructured freedom. Freedom sounds attractive, but freedom without structure is dangerous. Because when your day is not defined, your life begins to lose direction. Third, there's an invisible identity gap. Not in the formal sense of it, but in a very practical way. You wake up, but you are no longer sure what you are waking up as. And here is the most dangerous part. Drift does not look like a problem in the beginning. At first, it feels like rest. Oh, after so many years. Then it feels like freedom. Then slowly, it becomes confusion. And I must say this clearly today to another group of persons. There are some people who do not wait until retirement to drift. Life introduces drifts to them early. These are people who lost their jobs, people who have had their careers disrupted, people who have had unexpected life transitions. The principle is the same for you. whether you are 40 or you are 60. A life without design will eventually drift. So, what is our anti-drift shift? How do you avoid this drift? Not with theory, but with discipline. You have to decide your next role early in your career. You have to create structure for your days, even in retirement. You have to remain useful, because a man who is no longer useful begins to decline internally. Let that sink. Let us have a little reflection question, like an exercise, a take home, if you want to call it. Let me ask you a question. If nobody needed you tomorrow, what would you still choose to do? Whatever that thing is, needs to be well considered from an early stage. In closing, drift does not begin after retirement. It begins when a man stops being intentional about how he lives his days. Let me suggest something very simple. Think about your last 3 days. That is Friday, Saturday, and Sunday today. Not in general terms, but be specific. How did you actually spend your time? Can you account for how you spent your time the last 3 days? Was there direction, or was there just activity? Because drift does not announce itself. It creeps in on you. It reveals itself in patterns. Next week, we'll take this conversation further. Because once a man recognizes drift, the next question becomes, how exactly should life be structured so that drift never takes hold? In practical terms, in daily living. At Second Act Naija, we believe that the second half of life must not be left to chance. It must be lived intentionally, it must be designed deliberately, and it must be approached with clarity. Because the goal is simple: to reinvent yourself, to rebuild your life, and ultimately to rise into the fullness of your second act. Thank you very much. God bless you.